I'm at the Ronsorg in Grenchen, Switzerland, the home of an organization where philosophy for a new civilization is being introduced since 1984. I'm sitting here with Erika Haury, a woman who founded this place together with her husband Max. Hi Erika, it's a great pleasure to be here.
Hello, nice to be here.
Maybe for the beginning, can you please share your story of what have you gone through in your life? How did you keep your integrity while you were in the hands of other people, let's say, and then how did you empower yourself and start to walk your true path?
Yes, I can start with 16. When I was 16, I found Scientology. I went into this organization and I became a staff member. Also, really, I went there, get my training as a person who helps other people. This is in this philosophy. But the Church of Scientology became more and more strict, more and more, let's call it suppressive. Mm-hmm. They were entering our lives. I met there my husband Max, and we basically decided that we would like to leave because there was too much pressure, and the bad thing about it was they were pressing us with the idea that we will lose our spiritual freedom. Mm-hmm. Sure, from outside it sounds stupid. How can somebody say to somebody else, you will lose your spiritual freedom? I mean, it's in yourself. You are the only person who can allow you to do something or not allow you to do something.
Exactly.
But we were young. We believed it a bit, but not fully. It was, this story. And then the terrible story started, we decided to go out. Sure, they first tried to separate us, Mm-hmm. They thought, maybe it's good. They started to talk bad things about my husband at this time. It was not my husband, it was just my friend. Mm-hmm. And then we said, no, we don't do that. We will leave. And for us at this point, it was really something like we will leave this group who wants to create a new world. In the good sense, who wants to create a new world where everybody is trusting each other, understanding is the tool who solve problems. I mean, wonderful. Mm-hmm. But in practice, it was a bit different. They just pressed you. If you're not obeying, then they pressed you. And we said, okay, that's the risk. We leave. Mm-hmm. So we left. And as I told you before, we were trained in this technique to free a person from old traumatic incidents, from bad experience, from things which the person stops to be him or herself. Mm-hmm. And then we thought, why we are not continue to do the things which we found good without this suppressing or this forcing management. It was really the organization. We thought about we had many thoughts about how could it be that something which is so pure and good intended become such a trap. Mm-hmm. We had many talks with our friends. That was the real thing. We didn't stop to communicate with our friends. Our friends had similar experience, or some just looked at us and said, how crazy are you to go in such an organization and make such an experience? But on the other hand, it made me personally much stronger.
Definitely.
you know,
Uh-huh.
you really were pressed. I mean, just a little example.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was around 25, 26 when
Mhm.
we left. And we had no day off. Not even half a day off. When it was, we had to
Since
work.
then?
Yeah, no,
What do you mean?
the whole time,
Uh-huh.
the whole week we had to work.
Ah, okay.
We
Mhm.
had to work. Also,
Mhm.
it is incredible. It was not our wish, we had to work all day long.
Mhm.
From around 9 o'clock up to maybe 10 o'clock in the evening.
Wow. That's a lot of work, yeah.
Yes, I
Uh-huh.
mean, this was also a plan. A
Mhm.
plan to give you no time to think.
Exactly. To keep you in the structure
Yes.
and occupied.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So, and then once we were running to catch the bus,
Mhm.
and I was so out of breath, just while I had to run 5 minutes. And then I thought, my God, I'm 26. I'm out of breath when I just run 5 minutes. And then, it like, and I thought, my God, what I'm doing here.
Mhm.
I asked my husband, also my friend at this time, I said, I think we have to do something. I mean, no time to relax a bit.
Mm, exactly. To do other things as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I don't know if it's how to call it, it was just so suddenly I went to the doctor and the doctor said to me, I need urgently right now an operation. Can you imagine?
Wow, seriously.
Yes,
I didn't
really
know.
such a
Uh-huh.
out of the blue,
Mhm.
I thought, okay, I had a little bit pain in the stomach, so I thought, I went to the doctor and the doctor said, you need emergency operation.
Mhm.
I was a little bit,
Of course, yeah. Uh-huh.
and but I got this operation. It was not so dramatically. It turned out to be okay,
Mhm.
but it gave me time.
It's beautiful.
I
Yeah.
was in the hospital
Yeah.
and read all the books I couldn't read before. And on the end of this week, for me it was clear.
After 1 week, you knew
Yes.
that's enough.
I left. Also, I will leave
Mhm.
this organization.
Mhm.
I just didn't go there anymore.
It was not true for you anymore.
And then, sure, there's all these stories, what you can hear, this telephone terror.
So you went through all of that, yeah, together in
Yes,
Max.
they
Mhm.
called daily or even once an hour. And there was one moment I thought, okay, I have just to say no. And the next time when the phone call came, come back, you have to come back because many reasons, you said you will be part of our group. And so then I say, yes, that's true, but I changed my mind.
Mhm.
I don't want to continue.
Did you have to explain yourself or you just said no and that was it?
Exactly, that was the point. Before I tried to explain, I said, look, I saw this is wrong, that we work so hard, and I mean, I would love to work hard when I would see that there is a good product.
Mm-hmm.
Some people still were gaining something,
Mm-hmm.
but with this pressure, it is hard to work on your personal improvement when you have pressure in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
It's not impossible, but it is more stress, it's more difficult. And so I also want to have for my clients more peace,
Exactly.
So I just say, mm-mm.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. And the personal experience I took from there is really to see, you know, on the beginning I could not say no. I said, no. Or no. You know, it's really this, oh.
Yeah, it's a tough period you go through, definitely.
Yes,
Yeah.
and at the end you just say, oh, it's no need. You know, and the best thing is, now, when I look back,
Mm-hmm.
I have no bad feelings about it. I just took it as a lesson, but I learned this lesson.
I'll never be suppressed again.
Yes,
Exactly.
This is the thing, and the lesson I learned on the end. You can even say it with, relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
The other person tries to press you,
Mm-hmm.
and you just say to this person, no. No. You can even say, no, my friend. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they have been, or they still are my friends.
Mm-hmm.
This is the other point, you know, we grew together up to a certain point,
Mm-hmm.
up to the moment we felt this pressure. And that was no good. So we left, and then Max, my husband, said, oh, we can continue to work
Mm-hmm.
outside, independent, with no boss or no structure.
Uh-huh.
So we just continue. Also, we started our work
Mm-hmm.
to help people
Mm-hmm.
who want to come to us,
Mm-hmm.
and we work as long as they want to work with us. And when they go further, when they find somebody else, then we just let them go, because this is the biggest mistake a person who helps people can do,
Mm-hmm.
that the helping person thinks what the other person should do. Also, is this now a little bit this person and this person, this person, so I make it a little bit simpler so that we know which one is which one. So the person who does a treatment or a therapy,
Mm-hmm.
this person helps another person, and on a certain moment there is this little danger that the therapist thinks he knows or she knows now better
Mm-hmm.
what is good for this person, and this is always a mistake, because no, what we want to do is that the person finds his own truth.
I think this is so important,
Oh,
because everything we know in society, all kinds of therapies are out there that actually impose things on the person rather than giving them space to find out for themselves what is true for them, what was their past about, what they are about, what do they want in life and stuff like this. So it's a beautiful work you're doing here.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's good that you think so, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's really because maybe of my past, I sometimes I really want to stress this factor. As soon as it's no more good for the person, or even the person thinks so,
Mm-hmm.
we will always help the person to leave, to go away, or to make a good end,
Mm-hmm.
and to stay in good relationship with each other.
Mm.
You know, when you work with a person, it's so important that you can always communicate with this person.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
this is not, when you find another way, which is basically when it goes in the direction of improvement, it's just another form. We are all going in a one direction.
That's true. And we can help each other on our way.
Exactly.
Exactly. Good. We live in challenging times, and there are many forces within and without that affect us, our well-being and our potential as spiritual beings. What would you say is the biggest reason for a general suppression of human potential?
I think there are two forces.
Mm-hmm.
As we spoke before, the inner world, the barriers a person gives himself,
Mm-hmm.
and suppression from the environment.
Yeah.
That could be bad intended, or sometimes, the example of a good mother who protects the baby from everything, which on the end is also not very good, because the child or the adult later can't grow because too much protection. So these two things, the inner world and from outside, there can be some stops.
Mm-hmm. How far would you take maybe the suppression from the external world? Would that be just other people or other beings in a sense of hyperdimensional interference?
I think for me all is possible. I saw or experienced different forces.
Mm-hmm.
One of my, a thing I believe,
Mm-hmm.
it's really a belief, that all beings are basically good.
Mm-hmm.
Every being.
Every being. So did you hear of soulless humans? Of beings that, in a sense, something else is sitting in a human vessel?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think basically they are good, but not on their surface and not how they react and how they act.
Mm-hmm.
The source is, from my point of view, to find inside. Maybe, the inner world of these beings is so destroyed that they have lost their the relation to themselves. Also a person who acts, or a being who acts suppressive towards other beings with really bad intention. I mean, sometimes you can make a mistake. We do not talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Really intentionally to stop or to suppress another being, lost him or herself, which means he is not or she is not himself.
Mm-hmm.
It is sometimes a bit hard to repair that, and I don't know if we should start with this one. But
Yes.
it is still possible to change such beings to better.
Mm-hmm.
But they have to realize themselves what's going on with them, and that's maybe a hard thing to do.
Yeah, usually they don't come for therapy, right?
Usually not.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you get in contact with such people, and they have some light moments where they say, yes, I do all these bad things, but I can't stop it.
Like something is driving them.
Yeah.
And it's overpowering them to do these kind of things. Yeah.
Yes, so also, when you work with people, it's always so interesting. So many things can happen. So different beings you will meet. Also, I say now beings, spiritual beings, whatever,
Okay, then I will relate this answer with, do we create our reality through the prism of our mind? Is the external world direct reflection of our internal world? Or are there interferences again from external world that, in a sense, suppress us, that we can't create what would we want to create?
I also think it's really, I can't say it's that or that. I think it's really also a combination. Everybody grew up in an environment, in a special environment. This environment influenced the person, and really makes him to make decisions, or he or her has consideration. Maybe the person has the consideration it's not possible to overcome a special thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then first it started from outside,
Mm-hmm.
and then the person took it as a rule for himself. So it's always a combination. What I see from my work,
Mm-hmm.
if a person change his attitude to himself,
Mm-hmm.
the world changes. So that's really true.
That is true. That's my experience as well.
Yes.
Yeah. But you need to work with the unconscious mind, right? To change the, let's say, unconscious beliefs.
Yes.
How did you see the world when you were a child, let's say? And then when you repair that and heal that, then things can change.
Exactly.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, our mind records everything we ever experienced through our many senses, especially traumatic ones, which are harder to access as they exist in our unconscious mind. As per my understanding, these recordings exist on a cellular level, and if we don't deal with them, they will wreak havoc in our lives during times of us being triggered. Where is this traumatic programming stored? Is it in our cells or in our mind? What is the mind? Where is the mind? Is the unconscious mind our whole body on a cellular level?
Oh.
A proper packed question,
Yes,
I know.
yes. So I will start from the mind. I mean, I have to always to say in advance, it's just what I experienced and what I see that it works for me.
Yeah.
And for some of my clients, you know.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It is really, I think it's in the mind. And sure, there is a connection to the cells.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a combination. I mean, a person experienced a traumatic incident.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? The person or the spiritual being goes unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
But still something is recording that stuff. This is the mind an animal has, you know, it's a little bit less sensible. It thinks just A equal A equal A. So sunshine equal pain equal red car equal whatever. And that's fine. In this period of time, where it's just so A equal A equal A, and the person himself is not here, it's maybe good that something is still reacting just to survive. But then, when this traumatic incident is over, and the person is just walking along a street and sees a red car and feels bad, and he doesn't understand what's going on. This is the thing, this unconsciousness. And as long as he doesn't know or she doesn't know what happened, the person is affected of it. Just has headache or feels bad or thinks is not able to drive a car or is a bad driver, whatever. I mean, there can be 100,000 of different examples how it could be.
And has no idea where it's coming from, right?
Exactly.
Which, yeah.
So the work, my work is just to help a person fully aware to go back and once more experience this traumatic incident so that she or he can all these unknown factors evaluate and see what it really is. And so the traumatic effects is stopped. So it's no more there.
Mm-hmm.
The person can make a new decision and say, okay, I don't like red cars, but I do not get headaches when I see them, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, it could be, it's then the person himself who can say, who take over this experience,
Mm-hmm.
makes it to a known experience from himself, and say, okay, I had a car accident, fine.
Mm-hmm. I think what is really important, what you do here, is not that you just bring awareness to the past incident, let's say traumatic event that happened in the past, but that you take the charge of, which is the emotional work, which is the healing. I see it like that. It's like a healing work where you actually relieve that past experience that you somehow forgot about, and then the emotional, how to say, discharge comes through your body, and you make it's like a proper relief.
Yes.
And that's how you basically you let it go. You change the frequency. I see everything as energy, so I see it as when you work with emotions, you basically change the frequency of your body. Therefore, you go up on the emotional tone scale. So yeah, this is what I find here with your work really, really good.
Yes, you are very right. It's so obvious for me that I forgot to say it, because you're right, it's the main point.
I had to say it because I have massive improvement with myself with that.
Yeah, sure. It's really this barrier you have in your mind, the invisible barriers, and these emotions of grief or apathetic or to be angry, all these emotions. While you go back, you will experience that and heal. I mean, it's really like a wound.
Exactly.
And
you bring attention to it, right?
Yes.
And you confront it, and it leaves your system basically, which is great.
Exactly. That's the reason why every being is good, because when you work with that, it can, or she or he can heal himself, which is basically the miracle. It's not the person who does the therapy who heals the person heals himself.
Exactly.
A little bit guidance, and to give space to the person.
Yeah.
But she or he can do it himself, and that's the wonderful thing.
It is the power we all have. Yeah. Once you take time and you commit to it.
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing.
Great.
So for us to transcend our limitations and become truly free, what tools can we use that are effective and help us to deprogram and connect more to our spirit, and recognize more of who we truly are behind the human package, if I put it like this?
Just to confront or to have a look on our past.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is a technique you can learn how to do it. I don't know, I cannot go. If I should go in details or not, it is...
maybe just the basics, although we already covered it now.
Yes, I think so. It goes back to this once more, that the spiritual being himself is good. So every bad experience, he or she basically tries to avoid. Put it away. Exactly. Don't look at it. You know?
Yeah.
And now you take a therapist who can just go in the mind, spiritually, back, have a look on it, get the bad energy, the bad emotion, the stupid thoughts maybe, whatever, out of that, and then the person can heal himself. It's basically not very complicated. It is simple. An important part is from the side of the therapist that she or he doesn't comment anything about. It doesn't say that is good, that we found that, or maybe you should not look at that part, you should look on the earlier part. This doesn't work. Or even worse, to say, oh, such an incident is not very traumatic. We took another one. Because we go back to that self-determinism, the person who takes the therapy, this is the person who can decide. Because what happens when we go back and release such a traumatic incident? We give back the self-determinism to the being.
Ah, that's very important, yes.
Because these traumatic incidents, they are like a dark dot in the life.
Something playing us out, right?
Exactly.
And we have no idea what's going on,
Exactly.
when it's getting triggered.
Yes, yes. I mean, it just happens, and maybe it ruins our life.
Exactly.
Maybe it's a gifted artist, and always when he wants or she wants to do something, such a dark thing comes and say, you are unable. And then, okay, maybe when he drew the first time as a little child, something dramatic happened. He fall into, I don't know, fall into his pens or... I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah.
And then, when this person gets rid of this stupid dark dot, he's just more himself. That's the basic idea. You collect all these unknown pieces, and then on the end, you have the whole, the beautiful being we all are, basically.
Just wanted to ask, what stays when we let go of the unconscious mind and all these, let's say, traumatic experiences from the past? What stays there then? What is the new human or new spiritual being that we need in these times, let's say, to create the new civilization you're talking about?
Yes, just the person himself, the good person who has good intention and his own ideas, his own personality. So it's not the case that we become all the same. It's quite the different direction. The person becomes more individual, really in the sense of create new things.
Yeah. I think we are all losing, like, humanity because of the unconscious mind, because it controls us rather than us controlling it, which happens after the therapy, after you confront all these things. We're losing a lot on our sovereignty, like you said, the self-determinism, on intelligence, on our capabilities as what we can do, on our potential, our creativity, our connection to ourselves and other people. And I think, I think it's important we start to tap into the good side of who we are, and each of us does it, his or her own work, so we can really create something beautiful for the future.
Yes.
Yeah. What is your vision for the new civilization? Like life in general? Do we use technology? Do we have monetary system? How are our relationships like? What would you say?
Yes, that's a good question, because to create a new civilization, we need all these free beings.
Exactly.
It will not work with people who are still enslaved through their mind or from other forces. And then we will find solutions. When you look around, I mean, we have to say the new civilization is starting. We have science. We have to, maybe that's the first step. We have just to acknowledge that. So, for example, this permaculture, that's one part. Or to use wind energy or all
Mhm.
these alternative energy projects. So we have a lot of technology.
That's true.
And then immediately comes the question, why do we use that not more?
Mhm.
Where is this force
Mhm.
to hold it down?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then we come to this structure outside. Okay, we are not able now to change presidents' minds. I do not say which country.
Mhm.
I mean,
I think it's a global problem.
it's a global problem, exactly. And if
Yeah.
it's really the president, I don't know.
Mhm.
But you know, we have to start in our environment.
Exactly. Yeah.
And my vision is really
Mhm.
that all these people take their contribution.
Mhm.
I believe strongly that all of us
Mhm.
have their role
Exactly.
or
Mhm.
their place where they can contribute.
Mhm.
The baker in his store. The money system is something which really we have to cooperate as a group.
Mhm.
All the countries have to work together.
Mhm.
That's the vision, that the countries help each other. Can you
Exactly.
imagine? Can you
To
imagine?
have a system that would actually serve everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, rather than just a few. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
rich country says, okay, yes, this country has a problem with water. Let's make an example.
Mhm.
This country has a problem with water. How we could solve it? Oh, we sent our very bright engineers there to find the system so that this country is provided with water.
Mhm.
We have this technology that is so incredible, you know.
We have free energy as well, and it's being blocked.
Yes,
from-
it is not a problem,
Mhm.
but they are forces.
Mhm.
Maybe they are stupid.
I
Maybe
think
they
are.
do it a little bit intentional. But
Yeah.
you know the thing is that many good people
Mhm.
who just are in a structure
Mhm.
start to agree with this system. Money, for example, money is just a thought, you know. We can do it differently.
True.
We can do the exchange. There must be a system of exchange
Mhm.
with money, without money. All is open in this new civilization. We have just to find a way which serves everybody. And I think it's not one person who can create it, or even to make a picture of it.
Mhm.
I think it's really, we all have to do it. Sure, I do it. My work is more connected with spiritual freedom,
Mhm.
but this new civilization includes all different parts of life.
Mhm.
It could be a very simple project, like to make children happy,
Mhm.
to give them the possibility that once a week they can just go in a drawing lesson and they can just draw the way they would like to draw, with hands and feet and
Express
yes,
themselves.
exactly. And
properly.
then they go home and they are happy and they have a nice picture. That's one of the possibility, because you know, the next generation,
Mhm.
it's an important thing. They will continue to do our work and
Mhm.
to go in the direction of freeing themselves.
Definitely. I think it really is time for all of us to transcend the system, the matrix system, and create something beautiful and fresh, something that will serve us. So, yes, I completely agree with you. It's time for us to do that. And a fraction of humanity is already doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, what is your view on past lives? I know for many people this idea is not real. Could you give any good argument that would confirm, let's say, the past lives really exist?
Yeah. I think it's really it's really a thing of personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my argument would be that when I work with a person, I go back and have a look on their traumatic incidents. Sometimes it makes just pop, and an incident comes into view, which then the person says, "Oh, they have strange clothes on," and so it starts. I mean, I do not, or the person do not search for it. It just happened by going back. It just pops up, and then you realize it must be a past life. It must be an experience from an earlier life. And one argument maybe is that people are so afraid of dying.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which, when you just have a logical look on it, wouldn't make that much sense if it would be the first time. I mean, but maybe it's a repetition. So this subject is really heavy, or it's in our society something, but it's no, we want not to look at. And when you have a look in the Eastern world, where they are believe in not only in the past life, also in the next life. I mean, that's the consequence of it. They are more relaxed about the subject. They know it will go on.
That's true. I think, in my view, I think that death is a trap of the matrix. It limits you again in time, and then you think you don't have enough time, and we wear watches and our mobile phones and stuff like that. We're always under pressure of time, and I think that's also something we need to transcend and really realize who we truly are. That we are of spirit. Maybe we are of spirit, but we have human experience here on Earth. Yeah. So I think it would be good if we would talk more about death and not to be so afraid of it.
Yes, and
because it can be at the same time the most beautiful experience a person have. Let's say.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry,
yes. No. You're so right. This is a very good point, because I see that many times when I have when a person feels that the body is now going to die. You see, the spiritual being is not going to die.
Exactly.
Just the body has his time on this planet. It is just a rule. Okay, sometimes it's before the time, sometimes it's a little bit longer. It doesn't matter. But when you have a person who is aware of the fact that the body is now old and he has to go, the people who know there is a future, or let's say to believe there is a future, they are so better. They are so much better. They are so much. They have something which you can't describe. I had once a wonderful experience. A friend of mine was quite a little bit aged, and he was in the hospital, and he knows it's time for him to go. And then he were inviting all his friends, one after each other.
Okay.
And I talked with him, and then I came to him, and then he said, "I would like that you speak on my grave.
Uh-huh.
And to be honest, I thought a little bit. I said to him, yeah, but then he says, no. You will have a talk. It's very nice, but no priest, please, huh? No priest. Don't get the idea there is a priest.
Mhm.
Okay, good. Yeah, okay. And then I heard later on that a doctor talked with him, and he just said to the doctor, yes, I know, I have to go, I think in 2 weeks, 1 or 2 weeks,
Mhm.
my time is over. And then first the doctor said, oh, maybe he has this depression and because of the age. And then he said, no, I have no depression because of the age. It's the way it is.
He knew.
Yeah, he
He
knew.
just knew. Yeah.
That's exactly. The doctor then said, I admire your belief.
Mhm.
And he says, no, I know.
It's not a belief.
Yes. Exactly. And he was so impressed. Listen now,
Mhm.
that's such a nice story. Then all the nurses and the nurses who were in the training to become a nurse
Mhm.
visited him, and he was talking about his knowingness, and he had 14 days of fun teaching them. He was so the you know, the nurses who are really confronted with dying people all the time, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's not easy for them. And he just said, no, you know, I have this inner certainty that I will go on, and it was so amazing for all of us.
Mhm.
And we thought, wow. And I had something to say on his grave. I could just say, my dear friend, you had really done such a wonderful job on the last days of this life you had. You could give so much hope, so
Mhm.
much pleasure. I mean, and it was not a belief. I
Exactly.
thought, whoa, and it was not a belief. That was really a very nice experience.
His spirit continues, right? The
Oh,
adventure continues, and he knew about it. For sure.
Exactly. Yes,
Mm,
he
that's
was
beautiful.
certain about it.
Mhm.
And I saw many people that in this time of the life they are sometimes not so certain.
Mhm.
Okay.
Hopefully, in time, we'll change also our view on death,
Sure.
and that maybe it's not the end. I think that's an important subject. It
I
really
also
is.
think so. When
Yeah.
more people, as you said before, when
Mhm.
more people start to talk about their experience, you know.
Why don't we laugh about it and say,
Yes.
I really enjoyed this time here, and I'm enjoying things much more later on. In a sense, it's not the end. And
That's I think is an important part. An
Mhm.
important part of the new civilization. That
Yeah.
people just that they can say, I think now it's time. Let's make a party.
Exactly.
Whatever. You know?
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that story. It's a very inspiring. Yeah.
Yes.
It had been found that the monocell divided not only its substance, but gave its total experience or recording to its offspring. So everything that the old generations encountered and experienced is contained in the blueprint for the new generation. When we do the inner work and heal, do we heal also our ancestors? And at the same time give a better blueprint to our offspring on the basis that all is energy.
Yes, I think so. Or maybe to say, I know it is like that because I see that, you know, I have grandchildren and I see that they have not to go through the same thing as I, because they can really gain from my experience. But that's now on a personal experience. But I think as more people are living in peace with themselves. The children of these people will live in peace with themselves. It is a movement that goes from one part and influence all of us.
Mm-hmm. So you think it goes also backwards in, let's say, if your family is not doing any work or any healing or other ancestors, let's say, do you think it goes also that way?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You see that in your work as well?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because, we go back to the energy.
Uh-huh.
This energy a spiritual being has is spreading around. The good one and the bad one. The bad one maybe, coming. You enter a room and you feel free, okay? Or you enter a room and then there is a person who you like, who is open, who is free, or another person who is unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
You feel immediately also a little bit less happy.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I consider us human beings as separate cells of the same human body. Each of the cells has its meaningful work to do to sustain the whole. How important in our process to create a new civilization are our relationships and connection to others?
Ah.
We covered a bit of that already.
Yes, I
Mm-hmm.
like to repeat it again. I think it is the new challenge,
Mm-hmm.
We can only create a new civilization together.
Exactly.
I mean, I cannot live on a mountain and say, okay, then it's my personal new civilization with no connection to everybody. It's fine. It is also fine,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's the first step. But, I think this is also important to, when you work with yourself, you heal yourself,
Mm-hmm.
then you have more energy to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize that they start to help you. Then something what you are not good in it, and you maybe don't want to be good in it,
Mm-hmm.
the other person loves to do it. That is always the miracle in a group.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a group of free beings, they start to do what the group needs and what they like to do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you see, I don't like to work in the garden. I don't like it. I really don't like it.
Yeah.
I could, when it would be necessary, I would do it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we have a person who loves to do the garden.
Mm-hmm.
I see how he loves it, to do it. And it's such a win for us and a win for him. I mean, that's now a little part of it, a new civilization.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I imagine it would be, that everybody does the thing he loves or likes to do
Mm-hmm.
and contributes. There are always people who like to do very fancy thing, and other people like to do it very simple. And when we admire each other for all the activity, there is no problem. There's no problem.
Oh,
That's
I'm
the
looking
thing.
forward to that.
Oh,
That
yes.
sounds very beautiful. Yeah,
Yes.
when you can really use your gifts and talents and what you enjoy doing, and you bring it and share it with the world.
Yes.
It's the best we can do. Yeah, good. Erika, it's been such a pleasure to talk to you. For the end, maybe can you just tell more about the Ronsorg? What do you do here? What kind of tools do you teach and share with other people? Where are your locations? Where can people find you? What's your website? Give us some information.
Thank you very much. It was also very nice to talk with you, and it's always a pleasure to exchange such wonderful things and to create the future. Our organization is a little bit less of an organization as it sounds maybe so official. We are just a group of people. We consider us as free beings, and we work together as long we want to work together, and we will leave when we no more want to stay together. From my experience, it's very important for me to say that here again.
Yes, yes, yes.
And you can find us in Switzerland. Grenchen is a city in Switzerland close to Biel, Solothurn. And we are very close to the station, to the railway station. And our website, I don't know, I have to look it up.
All right.
Sorry.
I'll write it underneath the video anyway.
Yes,
so,
sorry.
Not a problem.
No, www.ronsorg.ch.
CHA?
Something like that.
I'll write it down.
Yeah, I mean, sorry.
I got you on that one.
No, it's really the thing. In our group, somebody else is responsible for that thing, so I just leave it out. I mean,
exactly. Yeah. It's not your responsibility. So,
but I'm not very good on it. Is that what you thought about it? I mean, what tools we are using? We just use this technique I learned long time ago in Scientology. So the good side of it, the philosophy, which is available for everybody, which everybody can have a look on it and decide if it's something for himself or not. So it's really, you go under the guidance with a person back in the past, and you really have a look on these incidents. When you want to try it, on our website there are many books, so you can inform yourself about it and find out if it's something for you or not.
Good, very good. You have also a group in Russia, right? And other places?
Yes.
Yeah.
We are a network. We found out with our experience from earlier times, it's not good to have a hierarchy structure on such a subject. It is good that all the groups are independent. We have just our communication level is we are friends. We consider us as friends, and we have exchange about technical things, how we can solve something, or even we do from time to time meet together and make some exercises together, have fun together. So, but they are all little groups. Little. They are not more than, some are maybe 10 persons. I mean, here in the Ronsorg Grenchen we are 7 people who work together. And when you are such a small group, every being has the possibility to bring in himself, you know.
Yeah.
When you have 100 people, I mean, okay, it's a big organization, and one guy has to be the boss and say we go in this direction, and the other person has no more a possibility to do something, and that's so we consider it more helpful to have just little groups there. Also in Russia, yes.
I think it's good that this kind of tools are spreading, although on a small scale, but I think it's very important in the times we live in, so that we can transcend our inhibitions or blockages on our path to become sovereign beings. So thank you, Erika. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the conversation and looking forward to see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.